Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today I am going to finally be making the pin stands that I promised that I would be making, about 14 months ago. This has been a long time in the making. And in the last video, I finally finished up the rear pin stand mounts as well as beefed up the whole rocker panel to make it stand up a little bit better to a little bit more rally abuse, which if you didn't see that video, you should go check it out, but don't do it right now. Make sure you subscribe and then you can see all my videos that I've got, because I've got pretty much everything that I've done to that car on video, going from just a daily driver to the stage rally car that it is now. And after that shameless plug, we're just gonna get right into work. So here's what I actually have to make these out of. As you can see, I measured some stuff out. I came up with a plan and kind of like a rough design of how I wanted to make these. And then I realized I really didn't have enough steel. So I kind of got creative with some of my scrap stuff that I had from old stuff. And I think I came up with a design that works for the amount of material that I have, so I don't have to buy more. So we've got right here, this is the 1-inch DOM, I believe. Yeah, this is 1-inch stuff. So I've got about 18 feet of that, and then I have about 12 feet of this, which is the 3/4-inch DOM, and then this, which the pins are actually going to be made out of that are going into the car, is 1.25 DOM with 0.95 wall. Now, I already did calculations and I figured out that this stuff is strong enough. Mostly worried about the actual pin going in the car so that it won't bend. It will be reinforced, but the 1.25-inch DOM with 0.95 wall has plenty of strength to support the weight of the car, especially seeing as there's going to be 4 different pins. Kind of making these things a little bit more intricate and complicated than they need to be. Honestly, to support the weight of the car, they don't need as many supports as I'm going to have. And you can do like a simple triangle design with like a flat bar underneath. And that's plenty strong enough to support the weight of the car, and it distributes it across enough surface area that you don't really have to worry about it sinking in too much. But I'm kind of doing this just for fun, especially since my garage is somewhat clean. So it's going to make this project a lot nicer to do, and why not? I've got nothing else to do this weekend, so might as well fab these up. But we're going to get started. I'm going to make a list of all the different cuts that I need to do, and we're going to chop up all the steel in all the little pieces that it needs to be to actually make all of these things. So we got all the pieces cut up from my measurements. So these are the actual pins right here. Those will be slided into the car. Should be plenty long enough. I measured earlier until it was like buried all the way. So just kind of added like 2.5 inches to that. If it's not long enough, I got plenty of extra if I want to make the pin a little bit longer. And then these are the legs for the triangles. And then these are going to be the bases. So we got 8 pieces. 8 pieces, did I make 8? Yeah, miscounted. So there's 8, 2 for the bases on each, and then 2 supports from each size. So 4 supports total going up into like a, kind of like a pyramid looking thing. We'll see. It almost looks like a normal jack stand. But now we have to clean them all up, clean up all the edges. These are going to be the next one, so I'm just going to clean up all of these all the way. So the entire tubes. It's going to take a while, lots of grinding. Once these are cleaned up, then we're going to break out the bender and start bending all of these in a complete 180. So we got all of these tubes cleaned up. These are all the ones that are getting bent. And then I just set up the bender. So now, gotta grab the right die. This is one piece of it. Gotta find all the stuff. They're all scattered. So we got all 16 tubes notched, ready to go for the lower section. So these are pretty much done, all the larger 1.25" tubes. Now the 1" tubes are not. They're notched and they're ready to go for the lower leg piece, but they're not sectioned off to actually be welded together like this. So we got to cut all 8 of these exactly like these are. So commence more cutting. All right, so we have most of these things done and we are almost ready to start tacking things together. Actually, we are ready to start tacking things together. So these are the final pieces here. So these are the small ones, big ones, obviously. Those are the pins. Still need to clean the edges on that. Not yet, though. And then these are the feet. Now, I'm going to start throwing together exactly where they're going to go. Tack them in place pretty firmly. That way they don't move. And then I have to notch the top of the triangle for the pin to sit. So let's get everything together and start throwing it onto the welding table, and then we'll start tacking in place. All 8 individual stands are completely tacked together now, so we're ready to move on to the next step, which will be notching for these pins here. So we got a notch somewhere around here in all of them, so the top of the triangle. We have to make sure that it's the same distance from the bottom, which is going to be on the ground, up into where the pin actually sits. So I'm not sure if it's going to be easier to use my notcher or if the drill press is going to work better. Probably play with both and see which one works best. As long as we get it symmetrical with each other, then there's no issue. One just might take a little longer, like clamping it to the drill press, as opposed to just throwing in the notcher. Alright, I welded up all 4. They are almost completely welded up. The only thing that isn't is like the bottom pieces going into there, but they all have pretty substantial welds on them. The top pieces are completely welded. They are not done. This isn't the finished product. They look weird. Like I said, they're way too beefy for what they are, because it's not a light pin stand by any means. But they'll look kind of cool when I'm done, or they'll look like trash, depending on how well I do. But we'll see. I'm going to test them out in the car, see if they're even stable enough and I should even continue, but they should be good. All right, so you can see they work. They hold the car. They do need to be reinforced and tied in at the bottom together, because they kind of move back and forth and they make the car unstable, just because of the flex in the bottom. So the next part, we'll get rid of all of that and make them look a little bit better than just 2 weird triangles and some pointless design that used way more material than he actually needed to make this pin stand. Okay, one is almost done, not complete. So what I have left is I'm going to plug this up, weld that, and then grind it down, make it look smooth. So when I weld that plug on and the backing plate onto it, I'll show you guys that. But other than that, I'm not going to show the other three because it's all going to be the same exact thing. And that's a lot to film, a lot to edit. And you guys don't need to be bored by that. It's all the same process. I'm probably going to do it a little bit better to where I cut all the holes at once with the for the dimple dies. And so the next step is probably cut all three of these pieces out on that sheet, which that sheet is scrap metal that's been in my backyard for like a year, which is why it's so rusted and pitted, but I don't want to waste it, and this isn't really structural. So that's why I'm using it right now. It's not a nice piece of metal at all, but I don't want to waste it. And this will use most of it, so that's good. And then the rest can go to the scrap yard. But yeah, I don't want to bore you guys with all of that, so we'll just pick this up and you'll get to see me welding in the plugs, and then we'll show the final product and how it holds up the car, or if it does hold up the car, who knows. Well, I finally finished cutting out all the pieces and welding them together. So now the gussets are completely welded on there. It only took me about 2 weeks to get this done because I had so much work to do. Terrible time. It took way too long. Ran out of welding wire, ran out of gas, all sorts of stuff. So the welds didn't come out that great on these things. I'm not going to make too many excuses, but it's mostly because I'm using such crappy steel, and I didn't even clean this stuff up. Like, I really should have cleaned up all that mill scale and rust off of the sheet metal and the tubes before I welded it. So like, I'd hit like random spots of really bad rust and it would just start spattering, which is what happens when you weld rust. Definitely could have done a lot better on that. We're not completely done though. We still have a little bit left. Next step is to fill in these. So these are just the little plugs from making the dimple die holes. Going to fill in the center hole and then weld these in to finish off the tube so you can actually see how it'll look. That way it just doesn't have a big gaping hole. And then on the back side over here, we're going to actually weld a plate to reinforce the back as well. That way it's not just relying on just the welds, which this is still plenty strong enough, but figured I should add that. And then they will be completely done. I just need to prep them for paint after that. These things are finally done. It has been way too long. Honestly, this whole process has been spread out almost over a month because of how long it's taken me with work and everything like that. Yeah, they're a little funky looking. That's funny looking silver paint, but whatever, is a $5 special. They're going to get all scratched up anyway. It's honestly just to make them look a little bit better and to try to keep some of the rust off of them. But they're going to get trashed up, especially like the pins going into the car. Those are going to get scratched the first time I use it. So now that we are done painting them, which I am going to hit them the bottom with the coat because I didn't hit that yet, but that can just be done off camera. So now that they're done, we're going to throw them in the car, see how they look holding the car up, and then probably finally end this video. Here's the car finally on the pin stands. It's been sitting on them for a while. I haven't had any time to mess with them. But yeah, they're pretty sturdy. They look okay. They're kind of a weird design, so they don't sit perfectly like they should. Definitely going to make them simple in the future if I ever remake them with like a one triangle design. That way I don't do it like this, but whatever. It's fine. But I think I'm finally done with that. Now I could focus on this probably today. I do need to clean this, but I probably won't today. I really don't feel like it, but I really need to start cleaning that thing. Finally gonna end this video. It's been way too long, honestly. Obviously, that's seamless to you, but the video's probably been pretty long too. But it took me, I don't know, 2-3 weeks to make these. Probably longer because I've been gone so much. Actually, it probably took a month and a half, honestly, because right now it's been almost 2 months since the rally happened. So I have no idea when I even started these things. But anyway, I'm gonna end the video right there. I appreciate you guys watching. If you made it this far, it's awesome. I'll see you guys with whatever I got coming out next.